everyone. Thank you for tuning in. You know who I am. I am Jay Lee. You know where you are. This is Jay Lee's Corner. And this is my review for Greenleaf, Season 2, Episode 15, 2x2. It is like 2:15 in the morning. And I'm trying to think, am I just tired? And that's why my iPad keeps slipping down and it's driving me crazy. I'm trying to get focused here. But I'm like, was I tired? And that's why the episode, I don't have a lot of energy for it. Was it not a good episode? I'm torn. There were good pieces in here and everything, but it was a good episode. Don't get me wrong. But it's some things that I just feel like they need to wrap it up that I foreseen happening. And then because this episode, things that I knew, I'm like, I knew it. So for me, it was like, man, I kind of figured that was going to happen. I wish something else would happen that maybe I didn't think about. But, the episode starts off and we come to see that May is completely against Charity. My face is so ugly. Charity going on tour. So much so that she come down and she like, Marisol. I think her name is Marisol. Did I just make that up? Did I give her a Mexican name? Was that rude? They're May. I can't think of what her name is. I can't think of how to pronounce it right now. But the one who was supposed to go with Charity on tour to take care of the baby might not be able to go. Why do you say she might not be able to go? Because her husband is sick and has like meningitis or something. And she's at the hospital with him. So, Grace and Bishop, it's like, oh, well, that's, so sad and that's kind of crazy. She's like, yeah. So she's like, oh, because she was supposed to watch the baby for Charity. And me and May like, yeah, that was the devil, but God won. I'm looking like, did you just say that Jesus gave this man meningitis and could have killed this man? Because I'm like, May, come on now. And then Grace is like, well, Mom, we can watch the baby for 2 weeks. We can make it work. And she's like, nope, she can't go. Charity can't go. And I'm like, why she can't go, May? It's just like, why are you so against her going? It's just so, So Bishop was like, look, I think she should go. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, we just need to go ahead and let her have access to her own happiness like you freely was, had yours for all these years. I'm like, Bishop, you know something we don't know, but we know what you know that you don't know, that you really do know? Okay, because when he said it, he looked at me like, you was enjoying your freedom all them years, all that time, and we trying to give Charity a little bit of that same freedom. And I think she should go. And be like, you know what? Me and Charity is going to go down to the hospital and visit, our maid and her husband to see what's really going on and get a clear understanding. Because you can't make a decision, not you, but no one can make a decision if they don't know, if they don't know what the hell they talking about. I'm looking like, May, ain't hell a cuss word? Ain't you? Well, no, they do say hell, not the cuss word because it's in the Bible. But she was like, you don't know what the hell you talking about. And I'm looking like, okay. And see, y'all two arguing without arguing what y'all arguing. And Grace standing looking like, what the fuck did I just walk in on? What the hell is going on around here? Because, it's a difference between the Bishop and May. Next we see Rochelle then came to see Bishop at church. And I'm like, don't y'all see Rochelle? Rochelle is the dang on serpent. Okay? She is a serpent in the Garden of Eden. And she is trying to tempt Adam. Or, well, in this case, Adam. Because it's first tempted Eve and then made Eve made Adam eat the apple. But in this case, she's the serpent. And she trying to test Bishop to eat her apple. Okay? I can see it. I feel like she is maybe Bailey's sister. Someone had mentioned that before in my comment section. They put, remember when they were talking about Bailey's father, they thought that he had a daughter and not a son. So how do we know that they haven't put her up in it just to get them all intertwined into the I almost cussed into the F word. The messiness of it all. But I'm thinking if she had so much money, Basie wouldn't be in trouble. So they wouldn't really be in cahoots because it wouldn't make any sense to do all that. So I don't know, but I just feel like she's connected in some sort of way. But I said maybe she is the daughter of May. Maybe May got pregnant a long time ago and gave it up. Maybe this is her sister. I don't know. But I'm like, I feel like in some way she's a family member of someone's and she's come to wreak havoc. But she's come to see Bishop. And the assistant like, you want me to leave the door open or closed, Bishop? And Bishop like, close the door. She's looking like, Bishop. Bishop, we see you. So we see the Rochelle's there because she's like, I'm nervous, but here's the check. Okay. And he's like, what this big check for? And she's like, I'm just trying to get some good karma, trying to pay it forward. They said if you put good things out, good things will happen to you. And he like, what's really going on? And she's like, see, Bishop, that's why I like you, having you around, because you can see right through me. Everyone else looks at me like I'm the kind of person who never has a hair out of place. But you can see the truth. I bet you and May had that same kind of connection. Rochelle, why you being sneaky and trying to throw little shots in about him and his wife? But I ain't gonna say nothing, though. Bishop then says, okay, Rochelle, what's really going on? And she's like, well, I got a call from my doctor regarding my cancer test results. And they want me to come in, so I'm nervous because you want me to come in if something's wrong. And he like, well, when you gotta go? Oh, I gotta go today. I came here before I went to the doctor. He like, you know what? I'll go with you. And then he leave out and let his assistant know, I'll be back a little later. And she looking like, Bishop, where you and this lady going? And you ain't with your wife? Where you and the junk thing going, Bishop? Where you going, Bishop? But Bishop going ahead on about his business. So, next we see Jacob at the church. And the guy came in. I had to keep running back and forth to see who the guy was. He's actually the deputy mayor. And he lets Jacob know the mayor is going to be stepping down. And he's going to be running for mayor. And he was going to have Basie as his spiritual advisor. But my thing is, if you have Basie as your spiritual advisor, you got to be a little bit crooked. Because Basie's a little bit crooked. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, really? But now he's like, since he's gone, I'm hoping I can still count on you and Triumph to be, on my side to help me in my campaign. And Jacob's like, well, I don't know. And he's like, with the government, it's all kind of grants. It's all kind of money up for grabs. And, it's just, I'm like, is you bribing Jacob? Jacob, do you not see the deception that is trying to be thrown your way? That's the same way that Basie got caught up playing in them streets with that money. Don't do it. Just don't do it. And, Jacob doesn't take the bait. He does say, well, I'll have to pray about it. I'll have to see. But leave some of your information here as far as what your platform is, what you plan to be doing. And I'll look through it to see if we're on the same page or not. And then I'll get back to you. He like, I wouldn't expect nothing less, past the Greenleaf. So, yeah, we see that. We see that Charity and May has gone to see the housekeeper. And I'm so sorry that I can't remember her name right now. And her husband in the hospital. And Charity is really upset with her mama because her mama didn't told her that the maid can't go. And she like, but mama, the hospital said he gonna be going home in a couple days. He'll be fine. And she was like, no, they said it could take about 2 weeks for him to get better. That's it. She can't go. And I'm like, well, damn it. Is the maid a slave? Like, does she not have her own say so? Can she not say, well, yes, I want to go, and no, I don't want to go? And for you to be like, well, if you go, the maid say, if you go, I'm going to fire you? Like, how do you prevent your maid from doing work? Like, and for your daughter. And for your grandchild. I'm like, dang, that is real selfish. Okay, it's real selfish. But on the other hand, Charity acting like she just has to have that particular person watch her child. You sometimes have to find a good nanny and put your trust in God and go on and do your work, because if you really want to be a backup singer or a singer in general, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, okay? But, I digress. So, we also see that, so that's one thing she's saying that the maid can't go. And then in the separate scene, we see May talking to Grace, and she's telling Grace, oh, I keep wanting to call her Marisol, but I don't think that's her name. I think I pronounced the name wrong. The housekeeper, her husband is an undocumented alien, and that's why he got so sick, because he waited so long to go to the hospital, because he didn't want them to be deported if they figured out who he was. And I want to see if we can get him documents to make him a legal resident of the U.S. of A. Before it's too late. And so Grace is like, oh, okay, I'll see what I can do. I'll get to working on it. So, next thing we see is Rochelle has a clean bill of health. They wanted to bring her in. It's about, like, maybe she's at her kidney levels, some levels, but she was okay. It's just something they want to look out for, but she's cancer-free. She's still in remission. But I'm like, I wonder if because she in remission, do she want her check back? Because you gave a check but maybe she felt like I gave. Let me stop being petty. But yeah, that's what I thought. Do she want her check back since she not sick no more? But then, you know what I'm saying? She hugged Bishop. And she hugged Bishop how you hug a man that you was mistress. That's your first time hugging him. I'm like, why you hugging that man so tight? And why you sniffing that man? Why that man sniffing you? Bishop, don't do it. Rochelle is trouble. And she's just trouble. Just take my word for it. She is trouble. And you know what I'm saying? Even when they just hug too long, it wasn't a hug. It was an embrace. It's because it's a difference. I have hugged people all my life. I've hugged coworkers. I've hugged children. I've hugged strangers. I've hugged people in times of happiness, and I've hugged people in times of sadness. I've also embraced men. Okay, and I've been embraced by men. Okay. That was a goddamn gonna embrace. They embraced each other. They embraced each other. They inhaled each other's scents. And they lingered for a couple of seconds. And I was like, you gonna just linger with that grown married man, Rochelle? And Bishop, you gonna go ahead and embrace with that lady when you got a wife at home? I guess I didn't have energy before, but I'm getting the energy now. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then she says, I'm happy that the Lord, felt the need to bring you into my life. Don't you blame this on Jesus, okay? Don't you put Jesus in this when you up to no good. You up to no good. You cannot put the Lord's name into stuff that you ain't got no business doing. You can't thank God that he helped you rob a bank. You can't thank God that he helped you get away with stealing somebody's checks. You can't thank God that he helped you get into the good graces of a married man in the church. You can't thank God for that. No. You can't. It's blasphemy on stuff. Anywho, that's what I kept thinking as they was embracing. The next thing we see is Zora. Oh, stupid, young-minded, childlike, doesn't even get that she's in over her head and that she is currently in an abusive relationship with that little light-skinned boy, Isaiah. We see Zora and she's in her room and she's looking at herself in the mirror and she has bruises on her back from her hitting the pole. It's bruises on her arm. She's basically all bruised up because she's in an abusive relationship. And she act like she don't know why. Oh, because he loves me. He does. He won't do it again. It makes me so mad. So, as we know, they have a rule in their house. You can't have no locked doors. You can't lock any doors. And her door is locked. Her mom's like, Zora, what is you doing? So she hurries up and puts on a long sleeve jacket and then opens the door. Her mom's like, why was the door locked? Oh, I just didn't know it and I was in just putting up some clothes. And her mom coming in like, okay, what's up with you? I got a call from your teacher saying that you're not engaging in class. You're quieter now and just a little bit different. And why you got on a long sleeve shirt? And she's like, I'm more mature now, Mom. I'm just, I'm not talking as much. I'm just, being grown. Y'all say how much I, talk too much when I be gossiping and stuff. So I'm just being older. And her mom was like, are you sure there's nothing wrong? I mean, her mom knows something's up. She just don't know what. But, at the same time, teenagers are weird. I was not weird, like they're like weird. But when you get older or you start getting older, you start being a teenager, you do start acting a little different. And it's always for a reason. She acting different because she's getting beaten. She having sex with that boy. So it's different reasons. But I'm happy that her mother is showing interest in saying something's up. Let me go just talk to her so she can see that I'm concerned. She's not just ignoring the fact that her daughter's a little bit different. So she's like, Mom, I'm fine. Her mother leaves the room. She's like, don't lock your door. You have to keep your door unlocked. She can close it, but you can't have a locked door. So her mom leaves and everything. Next we see, Grace is getting dressed because she didn't have sex with her boyfriend. Go ahead, Grace. You getting busy now. You getting down. I'm just playing. She's a grown woman, No judgment here. But she mentions to him, because he's talking about how they're going to all have dinner at her, the family's house. And she's like, well, I don't know. Maybe just me, you, and Sophia should go and have dinner because something's up with my parents. There's something going on, and I don't know what. And he's like, well, didn't you want me to kind of be integrated into the whole family? Let's just go and do it, and we'll see how it's going to be. Bishop and May, in last season, when they're in their bathroom, like getting ready for bed or even getting up in the morning, they always have like conversations in there. It's like a friendly banter between husband and wife. Not this time. It was a little bit tense. And, May brings up, so you saw, Rochelle today. And he's like, yes, I did. Did, my assistant also tell you that she gave us a check? And then she was like, yes, she did. And then he was like, well, she needed spiritual guidance because she had to go get test results for her cancer. And then they was like, oh. And he was like, since you won't ask, yes, she's okay. And he was like, yes, she's okay. She also brought us a check. And because he was like, yeah, I wouldn't want you to miss any vital information that you really needed. And then he walked out. I'm looking like, okay. It was just a tense conversation between the two of them. Because she asked him that one question, even him giving her answers. They was arguing without arguing. You know what I'm saying? With snappy comebacks and all that kind of stuff. So the next thing we see is Jacob and Carissa talking about Zora. And she's saying, when I talked to her and I asked her how she was doing it, she said something's off, something's different. And Jacob like, maybe she's smoking weed. And she's like, what? No, I didn't smell weed. He was like, she probably eating edibles. And he's laughing like, that's what I did when I was her age. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but kids these days do things like that. And she was like, huh, okay. So then she goes into Zora's room and she's searching her room. She's like, looking through the drawers or whatever, and she's looking through things and she's sniffing stuff and she's picking up because she's trying to find the smell of weed because she thinks her daughter's no weed. So when she picks up her pillow, a condom falls out. And I'm looking like, who put condoms in the pillowcase? You put condoms in like a maxi pad bag that no one will go in to see. Or you put them like in, a shoe box in the shoe in your closet that, you just don't put it in the pillowcase. Because if the pillow fall off your bed, the condom's going to fall out. And sure enough, or my picked up the pillow, the condoms fall out. And Zora like, why are you going through my stuff? Oh, because she didn't know her mom found the condoms. What are you doing with these? And she's like, well, we were being safe. We were, being responsible. And she's like, I can't believe you doing this. I know it's that boy. And she's like, no, Mom, it was my idea. Lying to your mama. No, it wasn't. It was that boy. And she's like, I just want you to be responsible. I want you to be better than me. Well, I don't want to be like you. She's like, well, I know you think I'm uptight and I ain't with it and I ain't lit and all that stuff you say, but I just want you to be better than I was. And, making your father wait earned me his respect. And she was like, did it? And Carissa smacked her. That's what parents do. When you talking back to your parent, you don't get you get a smack. You do. That's what happens. Go ahead, Carissa. Yes, smack her. And my thing is, she acts like, oh my God, I can't believe my mama smacked me. But you got Isaiah beating your ass and sexing you down, and you can't act like you new to a slap. He throwing you around, you ain't mad at him. You loving that boy. Oh, silly girl. So her mom's, apologizes for slapping her, but says to her, Isaiah is no longer allowed in this house. I don't know if I'm going to tell your father about this shit. I don't know what I'm going to do. But, he can't come in this house at all, period. No negotiation. She then tells her to read Corinthians chapter 7. I meant to read that before I did this review to see what it was. But I forgot. I apologize. If you guys know what Corinthians chapter 7 is, put it in the comments below. Or I might throw it in the comments below too. But if you know, put it in the comments below. So the next thing that we see, Charity calls, Jabari, says, she can't come the first 2 weeks. Can I get a replacement for her? She can work from home. Well, she can learn this stuff from home. So when she comes out on tour, she'll be ready. And they like, no. He's like, that'd be too much. It'll be money to do this and do that. He like, it's okay if you just say you can't do it right now. We can always do something later. And she's like, no. I'll get it worked out. I'll see you at rehearsal on Friday. And my thing is, Charity acting as if she's a star. You can't say, for the first 2 weeks, I can't make it to rehearsal. So, just have someone stand in for me, pay for someone to stand in for me, and I'll just be here doing. No, that ain't how it go. You have to do what you have to do, and if you can't make it, then it's not the opportunity for you. But I'm happy she said, what I'm saying, I'll be there. I'll do what I have to do. She's like, I'll make it work. We then see she later talks to her dad, and she's just saying, Mom was being unreasonable. I don't get why she is so against this. She's like, Kevin's gone. He's not coming back, and I need to move on with my life, even if that includes me going to be with Jabari. I want to move on. And she's like, and plus, I want to sing and not just backup. I want to be out in the world and be national. I don't want to just be stuck at Calvary singing in the choir. And, what I'm saying? She's like, and I'll have to just figure out something with being on the road with the baby. I'm sure I'm not the first woman to ever be on the road with a baby, and I'll figure it out. And Bishop lets her know, you know what? I'm proud of you. Do what you got to do and go and do it. Go on tour. So we see that part. There was a scene where Jacob was talking to the council at church just about how he was trying to implement the whole homeless program. And, what I'm saying, Sister Weaver, the treasurer, it's like, basically, she was like, we can't do that. The money is in charge here, and we ain't got the money for it. And he was like, no, God is in charge, boo-boo. God run this church, not the money. The Lord will make a way. Okay, He will get us the money. God has told me that, I think He said that the city will provide, somebody will provide. But God told him someone will provide the money. And he not listening to her talking about the money's in charge. How you going to say the money's in charge of church? You supposed to be about Jesus. Like, she up to something too. Okay? Let's be clear about that. Because she is just so against this idea of it. And my thing is, if you was such a good accountant, y'all wouldn't be in such bad shape. You let Basie run the dang on church to the ground. Don't try to get mad because, Pastor Greenleaf was now trying to come and do something positive, okay? Don't do that now, boo-boo. If you couldn't check Basie and prevent the church before from going into financial ruin, don't come trying to play savior now. Don't do that. And, what I'm saying? So it's that whole thing. There's a scene where Bishop tells May, look, Charity going on tour. She going on tour. She's taking the baby with her. He was like, what? May was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, she made the decision and she going. And who gonna lead the choir or the ministry, the music ministry? Karla coming back and he doing it. Says who? He says me. And like, just like anything else in your family, it ain't up for discussion. I'm like, okay, Bishop, you and Meg still arguing without arguing, but y'all arguing. And what I'm saying, it's this whole not even tiff for tat thing, but they just kind of sparring back and forth with their conversations. So, we later see the scene that he goes to Carlton's home. Carlton and his husband's there, who was Carl Barker from Living Single Days, but now he's the gay husband to Carlton. And he asked Carlton himself, can you come back? And Carlton's like, I'm not coming back to be the token gay or to be the one person who's accepted. I don't want to come back to Calvary. And so Calvary is as inclusive as Triumph, who accepts gay members. I don't want to be the token, gay guy. And Bishop then says, he brings up Noah's Ark and 2x2, and he, like, God has brought the sermon on me on what I'm going to preach, because Carlton was saying, my husband won't allow me to come back unless we are both accepted. And in the earlier scene when Bishop was talking to Rochelle, he was saying something that she said too that reminded him of 2x2, meaning on Noah's Ark, all the animals had a pair. Because God made it to where everyone had a pair. You had someone you were paired with. And, they came on there together and they left together. And, so that was what he was talking about. So then he was saying to Carlton, because Carlton was saying, I don't want to be fake change. I don't want that to happen. Something he said. But Bishop basically said, we can't change the church, but the church can change the world. And, but we can do this together if you are open to it. And Carlton likes what he's saying. His husband likes what Bishop is saying. And so he agrees to come back, come back on board, full employee, full benefits and everything. So yeah, we see that part. We then see a scene where Jacob is meeting with the bishop mayor again before they go out to church on Sunday. And the deputy mayor basically said, don't bring up including gay people. Or don't bring up the acceptance of gay people here at Triumph. Because the people who are in the audience who can back me for mayor won't like that. Stick to the things that everyone is comfortable with and don't bring that up. And Jacob was like, we don't discriminate here. All are welcome. And he like, man, it's just so much money to get. Let's just, do this and we can worry about whatever later. And Jacob was like, okay. He did say it okay as in a way as I'm being fooled by this snake in sheep's clothing. He said okay in you trying to play me and I'm going to let you think I'm playing along, but I get what you're trying to say. I hope Jacob is not getting, caught up in this whirlwind or whatever. But I don't think he is, because he still speaks as in everything is what God is telling him to do. And so I'm hoping he's not getting sucked into this world of just misery. So we see the next scene is Darius. They're at the party at the house. He meets Sophia. It's a whole nice conversation with him and Sophia at the front door. And then they're all sitting down like for drinks and stuff and like on the patio or whatever. And he's, talking to Bishop and May. And Sophia's there too. And I think Charity was there. I can't remember if I saw Charity sitting there. But he's talking about his parents and everything, and his dad was like, oh, that's so great. I'm so sorry that your father is no longer here. And then he's like, what about your mom? He's like, oh, no, my parents are, like those couples you hear about. They died within days of each other. My father died, and then like 2 days later, my mom died. And then Bishop was like, wow. Oh, wow, that's great. When a person has such a bond, such a connection, that they can't live without the other one. And the maid was like, yes. And then Bishop was like, I couldn't imagine it. And everybody looked like, did you just hear? And I'm like, it was just so, I'm like, they sparring back and forth. Because when you just say, I can't imagine, meaning if you died tomorrow, I would live until I died on my own. It wouldn't have nothing to do with me missing you. I'm looking like, Bishop, that was a deep, deep cut. But hey, when you're going back and forth. And everybody was like, okay, that's weird. So, when Darius and Grace are outside, he's like, yeah, there's definitely something up with your parents. And she's like, yeah, and I have no idea what it is. It's just so weird. But they're very different right now. But they're all, Grace and Darius are all lovey-dovey. I love that she finally has accepted that she has something good and she's seeing where it's going. So I do like that part. Next we see Basie calls Tasha. And she's like, oh my God, I thought I want to hear from you. Where you at? He like, don't worry about that. How you doing? I'm okay. Will I ever see you again? Am I not going to see you again? And he was like, just tell me you love me. And she's like, I love you. And then he was like, yeah, those, dang on Greenleafs. And he was like, you can't trust them. You can't trust them. They took our church. They swindled us out of our church. They killed my father. You need to make them pay. And she was like, I promise I'll make them pay. I knew it. My thing is, if your husband done done some things wrong and he done left you high and dry, I'm not finna do your dirty work. No, I'm not. Because you wouldn't even sacrifice. You put us in a bad situation. And you wouldn't even sacrifice yourself for what you put us in. But you want me to do your dirty work? No, ma'am. No, sir. No, thank you. No. Because if you loved me, you would have never put us in this predicament. If you loved me, you would have never left me here high and dry. Nope. And I can't. No. This can't happen. So, the next thing we see is, Bishop brought Rochelle, who brought her friend, who's a litigation or ICE or a person who can help somebody get a legal status. And Grace and Bishop is like, we have this guy who's our housekeeper's husband and he just isn't documented. Can you help us? And, Bishop's like, we'll pay you full price. And then Rochelle was like, yeah, can you please do this for us? And then the guy was like, these two together, that's a tag team. And Bishop is smiling all smug, and so is Rochelle. And Grace looking between them like, and she noticed okay, this is something. This is why mom and daddy at odds, because daddy's smiling all up in his girl's face and he shouldn't be, and it's very fucking inappropriate. Excuse my language. They both look sneaky. There's a scene where Jacob is at church, and he just basically announces to the congregation that the deputy mayor and the city has granted them a $75,000 grant for the church that would go towards his homeless program. And he's like, people here thought I couldn't do it, but they don't know the God I serve, and they don't know, some people think I couldn't do it, but they don't know my God. Yes, amen. And that same dang on treasurer looking all mean like she just mad that it happened, that he was able to do it. Again, I think she in on it. So, one of the last things we see is May and Bishop and the secrets coming out. Bishop tells May, I know you slept with Lionel, but I want to know when. And she like, well, I didn't want to tell you, he like, oh, it was when we were somewhere. And then she was like, I did it because you left so much pain on me for what you did with my sister. I'm like, so James, the Bishop didn't sleep with a sister, you just slept with Oprah? Lord, we knew something was up between them two, but we did not know that Bishop cheated on May with her sister. But Bishop said, but I told you when I did that, you and Lionel been hiding this from me for years. I had that man in my house, and y'all was making me out to be a fool, to be a joke. And he's pissed off. Like, he's very, very pissed off. And he like, but I told you when I did it. And May like, I just didn't want to tell you. I thought you'd be mad at me. And, stupid. I thought you'd be mad at me. You wouldn't, that you'd be mad at me. He like, you know what? I don't know if I love you right now. I don't know if I ever can again. And he starts walking away. And she's like, you can't give up this. And he's like, what is this? And she's like, our family, what we fought for, all I ever wanted was you. Please don't do this. And Bishop walks out. And I'm like, so damn. So Bishop admits he knew. She said, I did it because you slept with my sister and I was hurt. And he says, well, yeah, I slept with your sister, but right when I did it, I know it was a mistake and I told you. But you had a continuous affair with this man, had this man in my face, and y'all kept it a secret from me, which is why I'm pissed. I'm like, okay. So that was a bombshell. The absolute last thing was we see Tasha comes into Jacob's office. And she basically comes in to say, I cleaned out my office so that Carissa can have it. I know that'll make her happy. And Bishop, I'm here to help you and however you need me. You trying to sleep with Jacob now? And he was like, well, that's nice, as long as, then she also said, I believe in you. And he said, as long as we both keep believing in God, we'll be good. And he kind of got up to let her out, like, okay, you can go now. And she's like, oh, okay, that's fine. But she looks back and she looks at something. And I'm like, did she leave a microphone in there to record him talking? Like, what did she leave in there? And then she just basically left out. And then Jacob was just in there looking like, oh, okay. I just feel like she maybe left something there. I don't know if she was looking for something there. I don't know. It was just weird how she came in. I wonder if she just assumed that he would flirt back with her based on his past of flirting with other women and cheating on his wife. But you can tell she was in there to get some, or try to give him some, or get him to act like he wanted. So, because of course now, as we know, now she trying to get back at them too. So that was the whole episode. So that was my review for Greenleaf. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next week. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Until next time, people. Peace.